and we'll have a Q&A session here. Christina is going to take online questions, and I will call on Amanda for the first question. So Amanda, please go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me? This is Amanda Hendricks with Planetary Science Institute. Hi, Ryan. I think my question is mainly for you. Let's see, I wonder if you can comment on, oh, and I see something in the chat now about Maston. That's what I was going to ask about, is the recent news from Maston and implications on the programs that you are working on and that you told us about.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, so we are aware of the issues with Maston and that it may affect our task order. All I can really say right now is that we are talking to them about what this looks like, and in the case that we can't fly that task order, we'll look at flying the payloads on the future task orders. But that's really all that we can say right now. We're working with them on the details of what that looks like.
Okay, Christina, is there an online? I can just let you read it if you want.
Ryan, is SEO continuing to consider the possibility of allowing PRISM proposals to also recommend a landing site best suited for the science objectives within a limited latitude, longitude prescribed by the call, rather than having a pre-selected landing site?
Yeah, so the question is whether we're looking at allowing proposers to select a landing site for PRISM rather than predefining them. So for the first two PRISM solicitations, we had predefined landing sites in those, and that is something we are considering for future PRISM solicitations. Yeah, is the possibility of allowing proposers to do that.
Great. Jen.
Hey, Ryan. Another question for you. You're popular today. So I had a question about PRISM, and it's exciting that there's all these payloads that are flying, and it makes sense that it's an experiment, right? And CLPS is an experiment. So these payloads are relatively small, relatively low budget, relatively low capability. So they have to focus on, narrow focus science questions. So my question is about SEO's thinking on the strategy of the evolution of PRISM and increasing that, because I was struck by the slides outlining the payloads, linking that to decadal science. And I think that's a good place we want to get to. I'm not sure that PRISM in its current incarnation is addressing what the decadal calls decadal level science. So I'm just wondering if you could have any thoughts or opinions on SEO's thinking on evolving the capabilities of PRISM, as well as an integrated science strategy for what those future flights would do.
Yeah. So SEO is working on kind of what you said, a lunar science strategy. It includes PRISM, but just in general, what are our priorities for lunar science? We're not ready to roll that out yet, but we are working on that. Yeah, and we are looking at how PRISM will change and evolve with future iterations, especially as we start to see what capabilities that the vendors are going to start having ready. Again, with PRISM 2, we were able to offer mobility, so we want to look at, are there other capabilities we can offer with future PRISM solicitations that can really enhance science? And one of those capabilities, maybe increased mass or whatever it is to allow more instruments to address bigger science, I guess. So yeah, I mean, CLPS is evolving, which means PRISM is evolving, and we are, kind of, we don't have, like, we know PRISM 3, 4, 5, 6 are going to look like exactly like this, but we are talking about the ways that it can evolve and different things we can offer to proposers to enable kind of what you said, that more, decadal level science.
Great, Christina, the next online question, please. Okay.
Go ahead, take the next person in line.
Oh, okay, Chris.
Ryan, a quick question. Do you have any updates on CP12 selection?
I believe it's supposed to be after 4 p.m. today, Eastern, 4 p.m. Eastern. That was last I heard. I haven't checked this morning to see if it's still on schedule. 2 p.m. our time. Yeah.
Okay. Dan, go ahead.
Clive, one of the ways you get from resource to reserve is not only do you discover what's there, but you also develop the risk-reducing technologies particular to the environment that you're mining in. there's a lot we don't know, but there's a lot we do know. For instance, the moon is 1/6 gravity. I think we can all agree on that. What we need, in my humble opinion, is support for the range of technology developed to specific moon extraction environment. And we know a lot about that environment. And I don't think we're doing now what is necessary to provide people who, once they understand the resource, will have a mix of TRL6 technologies to apply to making that resource a reserve. So my question to you is, are you going to bring that up as part of your resource assessment?
Absolutely, the technology is part of it, but I would say that there's a lot still need to be learned about a PSR.
Sure,
but for regolith, looking at regolith resources or getting oxygen out of regolith, we can say that in terms of the amount of regolith we have, which has pretty much the same amount of oxygen in it that we have at Mari and Highland sites, we basically have a reserve there, but we don't have the economics behind it to make it an economical proposition yet. So I think that we know about that type of thing, but there's no demand for that particular resource at this time, and creating the markets is a wrinkle that needs to be done as well.
Well, I think one of the reasons why there's no demand is you don't know how much it's going to cost to extract, because nobody has actually figured out the extraction technology.
And we need demonstrations on the lunar surface.
And that costs some money, and it's going to cost a lot more money than you get in an SBIR program.
I will go with that. And it's part of an a coordinated international resource evaluation campaign.
Okay, one last question online, and then we need to go to break. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to point everybody to Marshall Eubanks. He has a talk on pentrometers later today. And then the question from Amy Fagan is repeating an earlier question for Ryan from Brad Joliffe. As a strategic medium class mission, is there an implied cost cap or cost expectation for Endurance A? And thank you, Amy, for bringing it further forward.
Yeah, so the study that was done for Endurance A for the decadal, I think, quoted a little bit over $1.5 million for Endurance A. And so within SEO, we're still looking at an implementation strategy for this and then what that might cost and actual, CLIPS dollars and everything. So I don't have an estimated cost from our end, but that's what the decadal study reported. Billion, sorry. Yeah.
Billion.
Yes, billion. Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah,
Brad.
right.
Always keeping me in check, that Brad.
Okay, so let's go to break, but before so, let's thank our speakers again. Thank you very much.